Hey everyone! So today I thought that I would share some of my favorite phrases that I repeat in the morning to start my day with a positive mindset. There are so many things that can trigger us during the day, so many things that unexpectedly come in our way, disruptions, discomfort, whether it's people, whether it's situations, whether it's our environment. And so what I found really helps me is to start my day off with positive words, with positive phrases or positive affirmations that set my mind up right. Even if those things come, what I know is that those phrases pop into my mind. It helps me to frame my perspective in a way to receive those things with a different view, to receive those things in a way that doesn't affect me as much as it normally would. So I wanted to share them with you because I really think how we start our mornings really reflects how the rest of our day is going to go. The mood that we have, the view that we have, the way that we start is the way that we end up going on or finishing. So these are some of my favorite phrases. But first, here's a word from our sponsor.
Thank you to Hilma for sponsoring the video today. I'm honestly really excited to share Hilma with you. I don't know whether I've talked about this before, but a good few years ago, I decided that I would avoid taking any over-the-counter medication. I really wanted to explore natural healing, and I tried to do the same for my husband Jay too. Hilma is actually so great because they have natural alternatives for over-the-counter medicines like Tums or Pepto-Bismol or Gas-X. They have alternatives to everything from digestion to immunity to de-stressing. When Jay was going through gut issues, we tried a lot of things for his upset tummy, his acid, and his indigestion after eating. So when I first tried Hilma, I wasn't really sure it was gonna work. I wasn't that hopeful, to be honest. But Hilma has a range of digestive remedies from gas and bloating relief to relieving an upset stomach. And let me tell you, the gas and bloating capsules actually worked really great for Jay. They gave him short-term relief and long-term comfort too. I've actually taken this stomach reset. It's a powder that you put into water on the odd days that I'm needed, and it has honestly soothed my stomach. The digestion products include ingredients like peppermint leaf for gas and bloating, chamomile if you have an upset stomach, and goji berries for the stomach reset that actually helps to protect and support the microbiome in your gut. And by the way, Hilma has actually done clinical studies to prove that the ingredients work and that they have short-term and long-term benefits. If you would like to try Hilma, you can get 20% off your order by using the code RADHI20. Just go to hilma.co. Check them out.
The first one is today is going to be better than it was yesterday. It's such a simple phrase, but as soon as I start my day with that, I'm like, well, no matter what happened yesterday, no matter what happened the day before, no matter what's going to happen tomorrow, what I do know is that today is going to be better than it was yesterday. And you know what, even if you get to the end of the day and you find that actually today was way worse than it was yesterday, the point is you've started your mind believing that it will. So believing that it is going to be better. So for me, even just starting my mind off in that way allows me to receive things and be like, you know what? Today's still going to be better than it was yesterday. Yes, I just stepped in mud and these are new shoes, but you know what? That was meant to happen, and today is better than it was yesterday. And it sounds so simple, but I guarantee you it's something which I have practiced, and whenever things go wrong, I repeat that in my mind. Today is better than it was yesterday. Today is better than it was yesterday. Today is better than it was yesterday. And I just believe that if we don't have hope and if we don't have the desire to see better in life, the desire to seek the goodness in life, then it's always going to be worse. We're never going to expect the better. So I feel it's better to live in hope for the good and live in hope for the goodness than it is to expect the worst and be pessimistic. So that is my first phrase that I absolutely love. Today will be better than it was yesterday. When it comes to a practical example, I can think of so many in my life. One of them is unexpected business things. Like I'm just starting off in a new business, a small business, which I have no idea about what I'm doing, but lots of things get thrown my way, whether it's things that I am uncomfortable with because I've not been used to doing them, whether it is feedback on things that I expected to go a certain way, but actually it comes back to me and it's not that at all. Or even if it's timelines, I have my whole day planned out, but because I have to prioritize this new business, it gets thrown into my schedule and it really disrupts it. And so for me, I love routine. I love knowing what's happening. I find when new things get thrown at me, it really throws me off. But this thought that today is going to be better than it was yesterday almost brings an excitement, like, oh, this was meant to come into my life and I was supposed to receive this today. So what is it going to bring me? And when it comes to personal stuff, you know, I find depending on other people's mood, depending on my family's mood, my friend's mood, you don't know what they're going through. And so even their energy is unexpected. Their energy, their words, they may have had a rough day. A stranger on the street could have had a rough day and they come at you with something, or they're not kind to you. And honestly, all those things are almost out of your control. You can't control how other people feel, but what you can control is how you receive it. And so whenever those things do happen for me, I, one, count my blessings, but two, have this phrase in the back of my mind that, you know, it is better than it was yesterday because I am alive, because I have breath, because I can see, because I have family. There are so many reasons to believe that today is better than it was yesterday. Even if it's the simple thing, even if the only thing you can think of that is better than it was yesterday is the fact that you have one extra day in your life, is the fact that you have these many extra breaths that you are able to breathe today, especially after what we've been through in the pandemic. Breath is something I wake up every time someone asks me, what are you grateful for? It's the first thing I think of because I've thought of not having it and I've thought of struggling to breathe with it. And I'm like, damn, there is always something to be grateful for if you have breath. The next phrase on my list is nothing I cannot handle will come before me. That has been something, honestly, since the beginning of the pandemic, that I've had a lot of realization since the pandemic, but more so because I have been put into a situation where I'm away from my family. Now, so many people are away from their family at this time, so I'm sure many of you can relate. But for me, it's been a really hard journey. I've moved homes in that time. I haven't had my family with me during it. I've done so many new things that I wanted to experience with them. I've had this ongoing underlying fear of anxiety of missing out on time with them, or missing out on the opportunity to be with them, or oh my gosh, like my grandma's 87 and I want to be with her and I want to spend every moment I can with her right now, but I just can't. I physically cannot be there. And so this phrase of nothing I cannot handle will come before me has been a savior in that time. I honestly truly believe that nothing will come to you that you cannot handle. Nothing that I can't physically, emotionally, or spiritually get through, it would not be here unless it is to strengthen me in some way or teach me something in some way. And so with that in mind, everything that comes your way, you're like, you know what, even if I feel like this is tough, I know that I've got something in me that can handle this. Whether it's emotion, whether it's crying, whether it's anger, whether it's laughter, whatever it is, every single thing is coming into my life because I need it, or understanding that I have every equipment in me, everything in me is built to receive this and to be able to get through it. And that for me has been a saving grace during this time. Whether it's to do with people being unwell abroad, whether it's to do with deaths in the family, there's so many things that happen. And coming to peace with something that you cannot change, and having that understanding that I'm equipped for this, then you find it within you. Like, you know it's there, so all you have to do is find it. That brings me a lot of peace because it's not like I have to go elsewhere to look for it. I know that whatever I'm receiving, I have within me to get through it. And that in itself means that I don't need anybody else. It is all in me. I can fix it and I can handle it. I just need to know how. I need to be able to dig into myself to find those things that I need to get through them. I have to say that when I first started trying to do this, it took me days of saying it over and over again to even feel a slight reduction in my anxiety or pain or sadness. But the more I did it, and the more it almost became the language that was being used in my mind, no matter what I went through, everything became easier. It became something that came to me a lot faster. The reduction in anxiety, the gap between feeling sadness and feeling hope again. You know, even talking about it now, like I can genuinely feel like whenever I get anxious about something, I find my breath gets very shallow, but also that I almost feel this panic and like this tightness in my chest. And every time I talk about my grandma, I feel like that still. And every time I talk about the distance with my family, I've noticed I feel this tightness in my chest. And these phrases, every time I think about them or every time I say them out loud or really intensely meditate on them, it just brings my breath back to me. It brings life back to me. It brings a settled feeling back to me, which is what I'm always looking for. The next one I wanted to share with you is be patient. Growth takes time. Now, I've been on a journey to really get better at the things that I'm sharing, whether it's online, whether it's in my education, whether it's my behavior with people around me. But one thing I've realized is how you end up talking to yourself or treating yourself is actually how you are teaching other people to treat and talk to you. And I really do believe that when you talk to yourself with love, when you give yourself patience, when you give yourself compassion, that is how other people will see you. They will see that you are just trying. When you try to be a perfectionist and you are showing to other people that you are perfect and that you've got it all under control and everything is fine, then everybody will treat you as if you should be perfect and that everything is fine and that you can handle it all. For me, the phrase of be patient, growth takes time, I give that to everybody else. I'm patient with other people in my life. But why am I not patient to myself? Why am I not patient with myself and loving with myself and kind with myself? And understanding that when we have done something for a long period of time, habits become ingrained in us. And so even if it's something that you are trying to grow within, you already have this big weed that's grown in your heart. So to counteract it, if you're trying to grow a flower, this takes time, it takes nurturing, it takes love and care. And no matter what comes at you, you have to realize that you are trying. And that's what it reminds me of, that you are trying. Growth is not something instant, it is something that takes time. And to allow yourself to have that time when you're frustrated with yourself, that's not going to help the process. If you get angry at yourself for falling off the bandwagon a little bit, that's not going to help you. What's going to help you is being kind. And what's going to help you is understanding that it is going to take time and be accepting of that. We want everything is instant gratification these days. We don't want to wait for something to happen. We want it to happen right now. This is such a cliche, but the good things in life take time. And so we have to believe in that and understand that good things take time, and we have to be willing to put in that time and effort and patience to reap the fruits of it after. I am probably most impatient with myself about my organization at the moment. That's been an ongoing thing for me, but it's been something that does not naturally come to me, and so I'm constantly battling myself with it. That and the ability to be present with people, like remembering details, I think is so important about people, to show them that you care and to show them that they mean something to you. Even in a small interaction, to be able to remember people's names and to be able to remember their children's names, or little details about them, I think is really important. But I've been quite lazy in my life before, where I haven't taken the time to do that. And so my natural instinct is to listen but not absorb. So I'm really trying to be patient with myself, to realize that this is a habit that's been going on for such a long time without me even realizing that. Now to relearn how to pay attention to someone, how to take those notes in my mind, it's going to take time, and I have to do it little by little. I feel like I'm used to being hard on myself, so impatient wasn't a surprise. But what was a surprise is, as soon as I'm impatient with myself, I realized it was seeping through to my impatience with other people. And that's what I didn't like. I realized that how I was treating myself ends up also being how you end up treating other people. You spend the most amount of time with yourself. So if you're treating yourself in that way, how can you expect yourself to be kind and loving to other people if you in your internal dialogue on a daily basis are being impatient with yourself? And so that's honestly the reason I wanted to change it even more so, is because I wanted to treat other people kinder and be more patient with other people's ups and downs. So I had to start with doing it with myself. The next one is short, sweet, and simple, but extremely powerful. It is be kind anyway. And what I mean by that is give people grace. Give people the benefit of doubt. We don't know what people have gone through. We don't know what people are going through, and we don't know how they are feeling in that moment. When someone is mean to you, or when someone does something to you, your initial reaction is usually to give back what they've given you. But I believe in the concept of absorbing what other people are feeling, but recycling it back to the world in a way that's a little bit better. And as difficult as that sounds, when you think of it as your service to the world, or to the collective energy that you are putting out into the world, it feels a little bit better. Because look, if I'm having a bad day and someone else comes to me with great energy, if they were to absorb my fear or my anxiety that I'm feeling or my sadness, which I happen to express to them, but then recycle that to the world in a better way or to someone else in a better way, I would hope that would happen. And so I would want to do that for them too. And I know it sounds so far-fetched, but it's as simple as your partner having a bad day, your partner being stressed out. They come home, they are agitated, so they're a little bit more snappy than usual. They don't necessarily want to have good conversation, but you can feel their energy is down. You have a choice. You can either go down with them, or you can take that energy, and if you have it in you, utilize that in a way that you are recycling it back to the world in a better way. Give it back a little bit better than it was. I remember my mum used to say to me, when you go to someone's home or if you use someone's things, leave it in a better condition than it was when you initially got there. If you stay in their room, make sure you do the bed better, make sure you clean up better than it was before you entered, to show someone that you care, to show someone that you love them, to show someone that you value them. And so in the same way, whether it's loved ones or whether it happens to be someone that you meet, like a shopkeeper, I always think, like, imagine what day they must have had for them to feel like this, for them to treat someone else like this, and imagine what they're going through internally. And so I guess the bottom line is, of be kind anyway, is no matter what someone says to you, no matter what someone does to you, if you are able to be kind anyway, then do. That doesn't mean, I just want to preface, because I do get a lot of comments that are like, but what if someone does this to you, and what if someone does that to you? Obviously there are limits, but there are many times I know in my life that I think, you know what, I could have been so much kinder to that person than I was. Just because they acted this way with me did not mean that I had to act in the same way back. So that's really the essence of be kind anyway. I actually think it's in the small moments. Like, the large moments actually feel, the small moments, by that I mean the little things, like whether it's your partner, like I said, like to be that day in, day out, to be kind anyway day in, day out is a lot harder than being kind in that big moment where you have to rise above something. It's in the let me show up a little bit more for you, let me hold space for you when you are feeling not at your best. And I think that's hardest when it's with people that you know the best, because you expect them, why are you not being nice? You can say those things, like, that's the people you feel the most comfortable with being rude back to. And so for me, whether it's my mom, my sister, my husband, it's with those people that I actually test myself. It's not with the people that I'm not as familiar with, because I will be kind to them because I'm not as comfortable with them. But when it's about the people that you love the most, or the people that you're the most comfortable with, that's the time where I feel it's tested, because in those small moments, you expect a lot more from them. For me, that's where I test myself the most. The next one is a reminder that change is constant. It is a necessary and natural part of life, so just embrace it. The things in life that are certain are the things that we are the most afraid of, or that we avoid the most, whether it's death, disease, or change. Those are the three things that generally are guaranteed in life in one way or another. It doesn't have to be a major disease, but some sort of health conditions always come our way. So death, disease, and change are three things that are pretty much certain in our life, but are the things that we fear the most. Now let's stick to change for today, but even the fear of changing in our body, like aging is such a beautiful process. It's something you could choose to see as, oh my goodness, I'm going grey, or I'm getting wrinkles, or you could choose to see as, this is how much wisdom, how many years of wisdom that I have. Now every year that I celebrate my birthday, I've started celebrating it now only over the past couple of years, because I'm like, this is celebrating a whole new year of life that I got to live. Like, how beautiful that I got to live another year. So instead of worrying about the changes that I'm going through, instead of worrying about, even as simple as physical changes, I could either choose to be sad about the process, or realize how much I have to be grateful for that extra year of life that I've had versus the extra wrinkles that I have on my face. When it comes to things a little bit more serious, the reason I've been thinking about it a lot is because during the period of time that I haven't seen people that I love, change is happening. And even seeing them getting older, or seeing whether it's my grandparent that I talk about a lot, like the way that she moves, the way that she acts, like, yes, change is inevitable. And again, when I moved home so many times, I moved house a lot, I moved country to country, and it was not expected in any way. I did not expect to move. I expected to stay in the same place with my family for the rest of my life, but it did not happen that way. And what I've learned to do is If I don't embrace it, it engulfs me and it takes over me with anxiety, because movement, actually, according to Ayurveda, movement, the air quality in our mind is what causes anxiety. Change does affect our body in that way, where we feel a little bit anxious about what's to come. But if we understand that that is always going to be, that stagnancy is not normality, but change is normality, then that becomes a normal part of life. Like, we don't fear it, we don't get worried about it, we don't push it away. The more you push something away, the scarier it gets. The further away from it you get, the scarier it gets. Whereas if you are able to think about that every single day, understand and accept change every single day. We're changing every second. Our cells are changing every second. Our bodies, our mind, everything is constantly changing. And that feels like a bit of like oxymoron. Everything is constantly changing, but it is. It's always changing. And so I've just really had to learn to just take a breath and think everything changes, and that's a good thing. And that's what I think we have to change our narrative to what change means. Change does not mean negative. Change does not have to mean something that is scary. Change can be something that's exciting and beautiful and wondrous, rather than being something that we fear or are afraid of. If you've seen my Ayurveda video, then you will know that I'm a very kapha person, which means that I like being stuck in one place, nothing changing around me, everybody stays the same, everything, like nothing changes around me, that's it. That's what I used to be like all the time. A small change would throw me off so much. Like a small change of routine, a change of what my mum would cook on a Wednesday and she decides to mix it up. I'm like, no, wait, what? Why is this on my plate? I'm confused. Honestly, I have to say, the more I resisted it so much that I feel the universe just came to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's how you feel? Well, let's see how you take this. And then I moved to New York, and then I moved to LA, and then I was traveling every month because of Jay's work. Every single month we were on a plane. Every single month it was a new place, a new hotel, a new country, a new thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, this, if I don't embrace it now, I'm gonna break down. And so I feel like it was one of those, throw her into the deep end and she's gonna find a way to swim out of it in a better way. Okay, so this last one is let go and make room for the new and improved. Now, letting go is difficult. Letting go of anything that has been part of you for a long time is difficult. Whether it's relationships, whether it's people in your life, whether it's physical objects, whether it's emotions that you have held on to for a long time that connect you to something. Letting go is always a challenge, but you know, the thing that has pushed me to do it is the opportunity of what could come instead. I always think of it as, how much space do I have in my body? What do I have? How much space do I have to hold things in my body? And I think of myself as at maximum capacity at all times, which means if I want to receive anything else, if I want to live in an abundance mindset, I also have to learn to let go of things. What can I let go of to receive? If your hands are full, you can't receive anything more. You can be full up to the brim with like everything you possibly can carry, but at some point you're gonna have to drop something. At some point you're gonna have to let go to receive whatever else is out for you, or whatever else is coming your way. And so the phrase let go and make room for the new and improved, it also just gives you optimism that like there is something better coming my way. I don't need to hold on to this. And you know, one thing I've realized is, I've realized many things, as you can tell. I feel like that's the phrase I've used a lot. One thing I've realized is, but I've realized so much lately, is that sometimes our mind tricks us into believing we want to hold on to something that is actually causing us pain. But because it's been part of us for so long, letting go of it feels like you're letting go of a part of you. What we have to start doing is distancing ourselves from our feelings, our emotions, our pain, our suffering, and our habits. None of those things are us. Even our mind is not technically us. If we are able to realize that I'm not my body, I am not my mind, I'm not my fears, I'm not my anxieties, I'm not my emotions, I'm not even my memories. If we're able to distance ourselves from that and realize that all of these are just part of a journey, all of these are experiences, all of these are part of the process to actually discover who I am. They are not part of me, they are part of the journey. Then it becomes easier to think, okay, well, what is it that's serving me right now? What is it that is providing me what I need in this moment, in this time? And if you realize that this one thing that you've been carrying for a while possibly is not serving you anymore, you can part ways with it. I really love that saying of there'll be people for days, for months, for years, for seasons, for lifetimes. And that's the same with everything in our body, everything in our mind, that we have to decide, do we want to carry this for our life, or was it just meant for this moment in time? And is that something that we can, as seasons change, leaves drop, new things come in, flowers bloom, and we have to think of our bodies in the same way, as more of a cycle rather than something where we have to carry this weight on us and keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. Then by the end of your life, you've just got so much weight that you're carrying mentally and physically. I personally feel like at the end of my life, I want to feel light and I want to feel content and joyful about everything that has come and everything that has gone as well, rather than trying to hold on to something that no longer is meant for me. One thing emotionally I had to let go of was the desire to be at a place at a certain time. For example, if I'm completely honest, I have a deep desire to obviously be there if and when anybody in my family passes away. That's something I think about a lot. And I've had to let go of that desire because I cannot control that. Like you cannot control that in any way. And so I've had to really program my mind to believe that whatever's meant to be is going to be. And if I'm holding on to that was causing so much anxiety in my mind every day. I would wake up every single day to check my phone to make sure nothing has happened to people in my family. It wasn't serving me. It wasn't making me a better person. It wasn't benefiting them in any way. And so that was something I really had to let go of. And what I embraced in return was the serious conviction that whatever is meant to be is going to be. For me, that was the hardest thing to let go of. And so once I let go of that, I was like, well, now if anything comes, nothing's going to be worse than that. And so if anything comes, and I've also realized that when I let go of it, that's when I was there at the right times. Like letting go of that feeling, I ended up being there when my sister needed me and I wasn't even meant to be there. I wasn't even supposed to be there at that time. That event wasn't even meant to happen at that time, but I happened to be there. And I wasn't holding on to it, and that's when everything just naturally occurred, and some for the good, some for the bad. But honestly, that's just what life ends up being, and it's sad, but a really liberating truth that once you come to terms with it, takes away a lot of fear from your heart. I've had so many dreams and played it out in my mind so many times where it sounds so morbid, but like I think that if you go through something in your mind multiple times and you really live it through and go through the emotions and the feelings. I once had a teacher tell me that like if you really want to get over something, you almost have to place yourself in that over and over and over again. It's like when you have a fear of something, if you do it over and over and over again, or a skill that you want to get good at, you do over and over and over again until you're good at it. And in the same way, I feel that with whether it's emotions of letting go or whether it's something like this, if you place yourself, it's inevitably that situation is going to happen. And so for me, if I place myself in that position in my mind, which I've done a few times when my anxiety was taking over me so much about that situation, I just had to live it through. Like I was getting to this point where nothing happened, but I was still feeling the emotions that I would normally feel, and I had to allow myself to continue through it rather than shoving them aside. And so whenever I got that fear or anxiety about it, I just let myself feel it through and took myself through the process of what are you scared of? Like work through that entire process of where you feel those, what are those hard moments? Why is it that you're going to feel this way, that you weren't there? What would be the benefit of you being there? Like what is it that's going to, what is it that you would gain, and what is it that they would gain? And what I realized at other times, that was very selfish, like desires, rather than it being for somebody else. It was definitely more for me. But back to the question, I really think that it's working through it in your mind, living through it, whatever you are fearful of, almost visualizing it in your mind before it happens. And I guess when the real thing happens, you've already kind of been through it a little bit, and you've already learned how to manage it a little bit. Okay, so those were my favorite phrases at the moment. I'm sure they will change because everything changes, but these are my favorite ones for now. And I'm going to write them in the caption below, and I also have this PDF which I made that I look at every day with them written down. So either you can make one for yourself or make a little notebook that you write at the side of your table when you're at the side of your bed. You can get up, say a little prayer first, and then read these every single morning, or even keep them with you and just keep looking over them during the day, because I feel like it covers a lot. of emotions that you could be feeling throughout the day, and hopefully one of them will spark a change in direction for whenever you're feeling a little bit low or a little bit sad, or whatever emotion you're feeling. So thank you so much for watching. I hope these help. Let me know if they do, and sending you all so much love. If you really like this video, then leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. And even if you didn't, subscribe anyway, because I am positive there will be something that you like in the future and you will regret not having been subscribed, because then you'll miss the video and then you won't be able to see it. And thanks everyone for watching.